Oh, I'm live. And yes, I did fix my tooth because I realized that if I'm going to be in front of people talking, they want to look at somebody in a hole. My eyes look very pretty. Just saying, ego. People want to look at somebody, and if they're going to listen to them, pay attention to them, they're going to want them to look a certain way. We shouldn't judge people on things like that, but you might not. But there is a lot of people out there that do. And they don't want to follow somebody who looked like they fell off the back of a hay wagon. Okay? Just saying. And how I fixed it is, it was like a shark. I was tired of that big hole being there, so I just was like grunted real hard. And, like how I got my mustache to come out, I just grunted and my mustache popped out. But that's how I did with my tooth. I just grunt real hard and poof, my tooth popped out. Hey. I know it was this is kind of an unexpected live. So my still needs part 2 of my book collection. Because I didn't get to say near all of them the other night. And I have, so ever since my experience, I can't explain some of the things yet because it's not my time to explain them. It's not my time to understand how they work yet. But there's some of the things that just I know that, like when I had somebody message me earlier that they were curious about the near-death experiences, that they wanted to do an interview with me, that they're setting up a channel, and I looked this person up on Facebook. And yes, just because their account don't have much doesn't mean that they're a fake person. It doesn't mean that they're scamming. At the same point in time, I am by all means no worried in anyone ever trying to scam me, because what can you do to me? Take my bank account or something and put some money in there. I don't have no money in there. Put some money in there and see if I won't scam you or something. Uh, uh, Shoot, if somebody comes to me one day and says that somebody stole your identity and they took a $15,000 loan and bought a RV or something or whatever, I've heard that lots of times. People say that. Somebody bought an RV, $15,000 money. Shoot, that's mine then. They bought it in my name. That's mine. I want it back. Shoot, man. Tell you me what. I go live in that RV. Dag burn. Man, it looks so much better not having a big hole right there. Just saying. I feel better about myself. Which is the whole reason I got these gold teeth in the first place. I did have 6 on the top because my teeth were messed up. And that's the whole reason I got them, is because I was so embarrassed to talk, so embarrassed to smile, anything, that I wanted to cover them up and to give myself confidence so I would be able to talk. And there for a long time after my tooth fell out, I didn't want to smile, I didn't want to talk either. But eventually it became a thing to me where, like, if you're judging me for missing a tooth, or you're judging me for whatever it may be, then you're not a kind of company I want to have around me anyways. God bless you. I still love you even though you spit in my face. You're exactly where you need to be, though. Just I don't have to have you by my side right now. If your path brings you to me later on, than it was meant to be. But right now, we all still have a choice who we choose to keep company with. But this is going to be, there's sometimes things I just know. Like this person and the picture that they sent me because I wanted them to send me a picture of them. It's not that person. They sent me a picture of somebody else. How do I know this? I can't show you my phone and prove that. But I know. I know because I believe a certain thing. I believe in the Hermetica. And I believe in the Bible. Let me say this because I've got a lot of followers on Facebook. I have 2,600 something followers on Facebook. I don't have that many on TikTok. It's growing, getting bigger, but I don't even have 160 something. I think 65 or something like that. But I've been posting religious things, and a lot of the followers that I've gotten on TikTok or Facebook call themselves a religion, whether they be Christian or atheist to pagan. I don't belong to a religion because all religion, to me, the word religion should be one. There shouldn't be multipliers on it that divides it. There shouldn't be you have a religion as a Christian, and because you're a Christian and because of your views, if you so ever come into a devil worshiper or whatever, an atheist, and your views be completely different on religious beliefs, you will conflict with each other. That should not be. It says that we should not judge one another. You look at me and you judge me, but if you are without sin, cast the stone. If you are without sin and perfect and sinless and can judge me, then do it. But if you're not, who are you to judge me? God can. But Jesus and a lot of other prophets in other religions, which all say that they have been some kind of reincarnation or similar things. A lot of things have been translated wrong throughout the years. And a lot of them say that reincarnation is real. In the Quran, it talks about, in the Holy Bible, no matter what version you have. If you have the LSV version, I know I said the KGV yesterday, but it's the King James version of the Bible. If you have that version, it talks about reincarnation, and it talks about reincarnation in the Ethiopian Bible. It talks about it in Islam, in Buddhism, in Hinduism. They all speak of reincarnation. The books that I showed the other day, the Hermetica, when you start to do a spiritual journey or a spiritual quest, you start to realize something, or I did. And it was just crazy because when I had my experience, I still couldn't connect the dots, even though I was given this amazing puzzle. Like I said, it's the reason why I was given the puzzle. Is I was given the puzzle, but my job, like these keys on this keyboard on this computer, I can see why Control, Shift, Search, Tab goes here, right? Can see why those go here. The lettering, I can see why they go here. I know why they fit together to make this big picture of the keyboard. That puzzle that I was given, I did not understand why this puzzle piece with its outline fit to this puzzle piece and why the picture on this one fit with this picture to make this big picture. So my job was to take the puzzle apart and understand why this piece with its shapes on it connect to this one and why the picture on this one connects to this picture to make this big picture. So that is my journey, is to take this puzzle apart. So by the time that I start at this bottom corner and work my way through this puzzle and get to the top right corner, I understand the puzzle. Now I can teach how and why the puzzle fits together. You won't have to do it for yourself. There has been prophets, there has been messiahs, there has been uh, all kinds of things throughout history, if you believe in that thing, that speak of reincarnation. Something the Hermetica told me, and something, like I say, I wasn't fitting. The puzzle pieces wasn't fitting because I haven't gotten there yet. And I said, I talked to a psychic at MUFON when I told them about my experience with the reptilian that I seen in consciousness form, and the grays that I seen in my front yard, and the grays that I seen that were coming out of that shard of glass, or it was a portal. They were portals. But I told them, and after I didn't talk to her about nothing besides my story. She told me some of her happenings. She worked for MUFON, some of the things that she experienced throughout her life that brought her to where she is today. And just speaking to her done something to me and helped me realize that what I am is a channel. That's all I am, is a channel. So when I had my experience and I left and I connected with all that ever was, is, and will be, and I've wrote this down and I've said this in multiple videos, that I was only allowed to bring back what was for me. I understand that now. The reason there was a lot that was just cut off is because it wasn't for me. That wasn't for me. It wasn't time to be released upon the earth yet. I only was allowed to bring back what was for my soul, me, myself, who makes me who I am as a person in physical form. That's all that I was allowed to bring back. Now, the channel that is in me, or that I am, is how it operates. Is when other souls ask a question to me specifically. It can be over the phone, but I more or less have to. It's hard to feel a person and know a person through electronics because of all the current that passes through them, the vibration. It's hard to actually feel that soul through them. I can, but it's very, very hard and distracting. And it's weird. Some people are not going to believe this, and that is okay. I'm okay with that. A lot of people will think I'm crazy, and I'm okay with you thinking I'm crazy. I thought I was crazy when I had my experience, so much so that I really was on the phone with my dad crying, looking through the blinds, thinking that black Suburbans were going to pull up in front of my house and kill me. That there was fixing to be helicopters land in my front yard and take me to some secret base and cut me open and look at my brain. I really thought that. I really did when I had my experience. But that's not here on this earth. I hope not. Somewhere else, maybe, but not here. Not yet. Anything is possible. And back to what I was saying about reincarnation. When I had my experience, how I understand time operates is time is experienced by physical matter. Physical matter experiences time solely for the point of the experience. It is the reason we have this in this current moment, in this current moment, in this current moment. That is time, experiencing the time. Yeah, it's weird how it works. The energy field, it is real. I mean, there's vibrations and frequencies and everything. Everything. Nikola Tesla said it. If you wanna understand, if you want a key to the universe, man, hold on, let me think. If you want to understand the universe, think of um, vibration, frequency, and vibration, frequency, and oh my Lord. Frequency. Yeah, energy. There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. I knew I had it. I've said this several times. There's so much interference. But yeah, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy. Everything vibrates. Everything has energy. Even death, even in death, a corpse decaying has frequency, vibration, and energy. So it's never actually dead. Even as it's decomposing, it still is alive. There's still things in that corpse that are alive and moving. The only thing is the life force that was powering whatever was alive, it just transforms. Something I've learned about reincarnation, and the reason that I believe in what the Bible says, he who believe in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Some people are going to think I'm crazy, and I'm okay with that. I really am, because I will never change what I believe. Never. Because I don't believe what I believe is wrong, and I will never try to change what anyone else believes. Whatever you believe, please keep believing it. I will never try to change you or steer you wrong or tell you you're wrong. I don't believe that. I don't believe in telling anyone they're wrong. You're wrong because you disagree with me. You're wrong because your views are not the same as me. Did you see that? Something go by here? I did. But I will never say that because I don't believe that. I believe that everything is planned perfect and everything happens for a reason. There is no luck or just happenstance. Everything happens perfectly. Everything is already planned, but because of free will, I have a choice to make on which way I go. If I go left, it's already been done, but if I go right, it's already been done too. That could have been a moth. I don't know. My ears ringing. That's weird, that ringing in my ears I get sometimes. It's only in the right one, though. It used to be in the left one, but now it's only in the right ear. I associate that ringing with death, though. I had it one night while I was sitting in the living room chair, happen so strongly that it moved my head, and I jumped out of the chair and started to have almost a mini panic attack because I associated that ringing in my ear with death, with dying. And I don't know why, but I did. I associated that with death, and it scared me so bad that I jumped up out of the chair. But anyways, the reincarnation and the Hermetica and all the stuff that I've been doing research into. And he who believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Eventually, through reincarnation, you get to a point, and remembrance, you get to a point to where you do remember past lives. And the Akashic records and stuff like that and how to connect to them. And if people believe in reincarnation, how, when people say Jesus would come back, people say that Jesus would come back. Do they think that he would come back in the same body? Or would it be like a reincarnation? Or could it be like a thing similar to where a near death experience and then something happened to where you could remember these things? But if God created everything that ever was, is, and will be, and people can channel other spirits, why wouldn't you be able to channel the spirit of Jesus and for him to direct you and guide you, which in turn would be God, the all that created all that ever was, is, and will be? Why couldn't a person do that? Why is it so hard to believe in today's culture, all over the world, that could happen? It's because that here we are. I mean, look how much time has passed since then, since these books were written, since miracles and stuff like that happened. Everything that has happened since then, miracles have faded from the world. But the time will come, eventually. The time will come to where people will believe again. This was supposed to be a video about me talking about my books, and I'm carried away for the reincarnation cycle now because some of the things that I was shown. And I want to talk about reincarnation, and I'll probably fix the title of this video after I'm done. But I want to say a little bit about what I believe about the reincarnation cycle. And like I say, whatever a person believes, you're not wrong. That's something that I believe, no matter what you believe in. I believe in that if you think heaven is clouds and walking up to a golden gate and there being a judger of judges and you getting past judgment on to go into the gates of heaven and you living for all eternity in heaven, that's what you will experience. If you believe that you've been bad here and should go to hell, or maybe you just think you're going to go to hell, and then when you die, you experience hell. If you're I can't remember what they're called. I think they're atheists that believe in nothing, right? I think. If you believe that when you die, you just black out all of existence, you will experience that. Why? For the experience. Free will. You created it. Your heaven is what you created. God created you with free will to experience everything that you want to create. We're supposed to do that here in reality, in real form. We are supposed to be able to heal the body. It's talked about in ancient cultures in the Bible. Look at the things that Jesus did. We're supposed to be able to heal the body and the soul. But a lot of these things have been yes. A lot of these things has been kept from us when it comes to the power that is God. It has been kept from us because there has been souls before that have done this process and have woken up way back in our time as a culture of humans and seen actual how much power they can do and how really they can create their own reality. And they wanted it so much for themselves and not to be shared with other people. They seen that they could profit off of it and keep other people under the influence of them. So that's what they have done. They have created a world to where they took the power and hid it for themselves and kept it for themselves and created an elite force of people that run this planet and keep everybody else oppressed. Why? Because they profit from it. They profit from it in physical. Spiritual, it's not doing anything for them because they keep dying and coming back and coming back. Yes, you might be rich here, but one day will be your judgment day. One day will be a judgment day to where instead of just coming back and coming back and coming back, you stand before a judge and you are told, look what you have done. You will no longer be able to create. You will only be able to experience creation as I've created you to experience creation. That's it. But these evil forces at work, God created us with free will. He will never alter your free will. What you believe in, if you believe something, say for instance, I believe I want to do good. I believe I want to do good. I believe I want to do good. People all the time, I've heard people all the time, I pray to God. I've even said this. Right before my experience 2 years ago, me and my mom got into an argument, and standing in the doorway of this room, looking at her on the other side of the doorway, I said, God's not real. God does not exist. Well, days later he showed up. I will never say that again. I know better. But there's a lot of people who are on earth that read the Bible, that pray, and everything. And they say, I pray and I talk to God, but he never talks back. I'm not even sure if he hears me. I know I've said that. Trust me, he hears you and he sees you and he's smiling. That's what he did to me the whole time. He smiled. He never opened his mouth. He communicated directly to me because there was no separation between me and him. He was in me. And when I first came back and was trying to write this stuff down, he was the only one that I ever seen there. He never spoke though. He would only give me images. And I never understood them. And then when I felt the second presence, I knew that second presence as Jesus Christ. Why Jesus Christ is because that's who I would recognize. That's who I would recognize him as because that's who I've always heard. You see who you see. You believe Buddha, you see Buddha. You believe in Satan, you see Satan. What you believe in, your reality, you create. People are. Some of this is hard to explain, but it's time to get some of this out. And I know my videos will probably never be more than just a few views, but that's okay with me. Eventually, the electronics are going to get purged anyways. It might take. It could happen tomorrow. It could take thousands of years. I'm not sure, but I'm not willing to tinker with that. So, but that's the whole reason I'm trying to write. But that's the reason I'm collecting these books, and the reason I have to get so many. This is hard to explain, and some people are not going to believe this, and they're going to think I'm freaking crazy for saying this. I can remember telling people to write these books. I can remember writing the books. I can remember these things. I can channel them. I can feel them. I can hear the words. That's the reason I'm allowed to read the Hermetica and the Kabbalion. I was trying to read the Kabbalion yesterday, but then I started to flip through it, and everything that I've already said was in the book. So I don't need to read it. I've already read it. I've already written it. I've already spoke the words from it. I can only remember them when the time is ready. The time has to be right. Everything has to be right in the moment, which is weird how it works, but it's because of time and how we experience time. But eventually, I've said this before, how do you fit a year into a day, and how do you stretch one day into a year? Well, eventually we can. Eventually, once you realize what gravity is and time is, and you know that, yes, some people say that they exist because we experience time, we experience gravity. Then some people say they don't exist. They're just a figment of our imagination, and humans created that word to give the forces that pull us down and the seasons. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But the whole thing is that if God created it, all of creation, he can control all of creation. Well, if you are a creation of God, and God lives in all of his creations, God is living in you. If God is living in you and can control all of creation, and you're a creation of him, you can start to be a creator, just like he was, just like God was, and create your reality. Nothing will ever be more than God. But what people are not unaware of is that God is all. God is everything. It's the law of one. 1 plus 1 don't equal 2. 1 plus 1 still equals 1. Everything is one connected together. So when everything is one connected together, your your world is limited by your imagination. But what I'm shown and what I'm told is the reason I can't walk outside and fly yet is because of other souls' free will. Why is that? Simple. If I was to sit here right now and have my phone sitting in my hand, and I made my phone levitate out of my hand, right, and float here in the air, you would see that on a computer and it would be a CGI or trickery. Well, say if we were in person and I did it and you actually seen levitate my phone and you are not left to use free will. If something to you is impossible or you can't comprehend it yet, but you see it done, you no longer have the opportunity to use free will to believe it. It's done. I didn't give you the opportunity to use your free will for you yourself to start believing it and doing it and creating it yourself. I altered your reality by creating something that you thought or knew was impossible. We are not allowed to do that. There's a lot there's a lot of souls here that can do wondrous, amazing things. And we know we can, but we're not allowed to yet. We're not allowed to yet, and we have to give it time. Eventually, in time, there's a lot of things that people will see. I believe that in time, if God created all of creation, He experiences His creation. He lives in all of His creation, in everything, to experience His creation. He's in everything that ever was, is, and will be. Well, if that's the case, then you can connect through God, if He's willing, to past, present, and future. With the reincarnation cycle, there is an infinite row of Earths that I have this phone here, and on one Earth, this one Earth, it could be something as simple as the phone moving slightly, just like that, and then an infinite row of them. Then the next Earth, it could be slightly angled like that, and an infinite row of them. That is part of the, call it, multiverse reincarnation cycle, and the reason for that is life, death, and rebirth. When you die here in this life, and you take karma or negativity, bad energy with you, that is part of the reincarnation cycle. Your soul is here in this body, waiting to be awakened, to remember, to connect to all of this. But until you are aware of it, these other realities don't exist to you. They're there, but they don't exist to you. You don't even believe in them. You don't even have no awareness of them. But when you die here and you do a life review, and some people are shown to go back into their body, you don't go back into the body. If you have a near-death experience and come back to that body, it's because that body was never meant to be actually physically dead, completely dead. When I had my experience with the near death here, it's because this body wasn't going to physically die. My body was still alive and heart beating. But the other body that I transferred into on the other Earth that was doing the exact same thing, a mirrored Earth in an infinite state of them, that body had an aneurysm in the right side of the brain that burst and killed that body. I died in that world. There was no more. I got buried in a graveyard. And that reality on another Earth, there is another Earth in an infinite state that now has a Earth from 2 years ago that no longer has me in them. Everything carried on there for everyone else. But instead of that Earth being the same, it created a different reality and an infinite state of them. So right now, if I died and went to the afterlife and did a life review, and I seen a mistake that I made on a Tuesday, and I'm told to come back and fix that mistake, or want to go back and fix that mistake, so I reincarnate back onto the earth, and I'm born and I do it again. Well, come that Tuesday, I correct the mistake. Well, come that next Wednesday, that following Wednesday, I could create a mistake that wasn't there before in a past life, which would pop up another earth in an infinite state of reincarnation cycle. Because you altered and changed that reality, a new reality is now created. That's how that works. That's the reason these infinite earths keep going and going and going and going. They never end. But with the reincarnation cycle, if you die before you die, then you won't die when you die. You realize that death of the physical form is not the end. The soul is eternal. Spirit is eternal, connected to everything. You can connect to these other earths. You can even shift your consciousness. Right now, the body is an airplane. I describe it like this. The body is an airplane. Right now, your soul or spirit, however you want to call it, is in the airplane, piloting it, flying it around. These other bodies that are you are that are on these other earths, say the mirrored earths, they're doing the exact same thing you're doing. They're just not consciously aware that they're alive yet until your pilot goes into them bodies. So they're in autopilot mode. They're just following programming. And when I say programming, I don't mean the Matrix. Okay? But they're following programming from this mirrored reality that you're conscious in. You shift your consciousness. Put this plane is what happened to when I had my near-death experience. When my soul came outside of this body, it put this body into autopilot mode. This body is still alive, but now it's just following the program, the coding that set forth the plan, the perfect plan by God. When my soul went into that body then became aware. And I was aware of the aneurysm and that I was going to have to die. So that was shifting consciousness from one reality into another reality in the same body, but in completely different realms, different dimensions. It's the same thing, and I know it does talk about realms and dimensions in the Bible, but they're not really, I don't know if they're really called realms or dimensions, but yeah. But eventually, when it comes to reincarnation and Hermetica, I get off topic sometimes. You realize that it's not just channeling. It's more than one operator is in the body. If God connects everything, if God connects all, then all is connected. The only thing is, when are you going to stick the power cord into the outlet to connect? That's it. Your body is the power cord, and you have to connect. But you have to realize that you're more than just physical. The physical is only the experience. The soul or spirit is eternal. Once that happens, and you reach a certain level, if you've never heard of Dolores Cannon, I'm pretty sure she says a lot of things similar to me. Like I say, I've only ever watched a part of the 3 Waves of Volunteers or something, to where she talked about a puzzle and getting puzzle pieces from hypnosis that she would do with patients and channeling with them, and she would get a puzzle piece each time, and I quit watching it and never read anything by her since then. Never watched anyone else's podcast. Like Jeff Mars, I've never watched anyone else's podcast. I've only watched mine. I've never, I've done a little bit of research here and there when it comes to books and stuff. But most of this stuff is stuff that just comes to me. already. It just comes to me. And then my job from the get-go, from day one, I knew was to be a teacher because that's what I was told to do. I was told to take the information that I'm given and that are in all these books and everything else and put them in the simplest form so that people, young or old, highly educated or no education at all, most everyone would be able to understand what I say. That's the whole reason that I am who I am. And I was chosen to do what I'm here to do, is to teach this information in the simplest form so that people will be able to understand it. Because there's a lot of text, a lot of scrolls, a lot of things that have been mistranslated throughout the years. A lot of people who are very educated, that if you would hear them speak, you would need a dictionary sitting next to you and have to pause the video every 5 seconds to look a word up to even understand what they said. That is, no. I'm supposed to simplify the teachings, because you shouldn't have to say, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this word? What do you mean by that word? You shouldn't have to say that. That's the whole reason I'm doing this the way I am. Being told to do this is because you don't need it. I'm giving it to you in the simplest form, the simplest way, so that when it is brought to you, you can understand it. And then once you understand it, you can start to do it. Because this isn't for me. I could sit there and keep all this to myself, but if I did it, it's all going to be stripped. It's happened to so many, including, look at Solomon, for instance, in the Bible. Look at what he did. Look at what happened to him. I ain't going to do that. Shoot. And the elites are the ones that are extremely wealthy and powerful. Where they're getting their information, they do know a lot of stuff. Like the reptilian I seen. They are very advanced when it comes to, I wouldn't call them spiritual, because they're not really spiritual in that way. They're spiritual when it comes to the dark things, dark realm. But how they operate is they are here in physical form, but the one that I seen was only here in consciousness. He was projected consciousness. I seen him like a ghost. Like I'm sitting here right now and you can't see the wall back behind me. When I seen him, I could see the wall back behind him. I could see him, but see right through him at the same time, because he was only projected consciousness. And because I was in this altered state of being, I was able to see him. But we can get, every single person has this ability. Has it? I mean, it even says it. For instance, matter of fact, because I've been told 3 different verses to look up, and the first one was Psalms 18. I love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield, the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. The second one I was told to look up was Psalms 91, which I have a list of them, a list of, it's a lot, and I can't read. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll read the first to the third. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. 3. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. That's the fourth one. The third one I was told to look up. the fourth one was Matthew 3. I think it was, which brought me to 6:33. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. That was the third one. And the fourth one, I was told to look up Luke 4. And the first thing that popped up, I didn't even want to say it. I didn't even want to post it. I did. But I did. It's like, and I've told this one woman that I talked to from Australia, actually, she hasn't messaged me in a while, and I haven't messaged her because she lives in Australia, so the time difference is really different there. But she's going through a lot of hard times, and I set up a GoFundMe for her, but nothing happened. But it is, I mean, I wish I could help her. I wish I could do more for people, and but I just can't at the moment. And I just have faith. I have faith in this. But the fourth one I was told to look up was Luke 4. And as soon as I did, the first thing that popped up was the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recover the sight to the blind, to set free those who are oppressed, to proclaim the favorable year. I got the thing blocked out. The favorable year of the Lord. I think that's what it says. But I was like, why? Why would I look that up, and why would that be said to me? If I really went out there, if I really put out videos or anything and said that God talks to me, that God is in me, that Jesus talks to me, that Jesus is in me, people would not believe that. People would not believe that, because I had a hard time believing it. When it first happened to me, I had a very, very hard time believing it. But there's no doubt in my mind anymore. My stomach is growling. There is no doubt in my mind anymore. Will people believe me? Probably not. But that's okay. I am still going to carry on with my mission, and my mission is just to speak. I am not here to do miracles. I am not. I am here to tell you that the miracle is you. You are the miracle, and you create the miracle. You can do the miracle. You can be the miracle. The same thing that Jesus was trying to say, that the way to everything, the way to eternity, the way to heaven is through God, that he is the Son of the Father. We are all children of the Lord. I mean, how have people been reading these books and missing the connections? I have not even read any of these books. I have never been religious. I didn't even believe in God for a little over 2 years now. Is the only time that I've believed in them. I see the connections in all these books, in the Tanakh, in the Quran, in the Holy Bible, whatever. I see the connection, that they're all saying the exact same thing. It's just worded different. It's been translated different throughout the years, throughout the centuries. It's been mistranslated. You have people that spoke Greek that took Latin and tried to translate it. You've had people that speak English and try to translate Jewish language. You've had all these people try to translate different languages that they didn't even know anything about. How can you expect to have a accurate translated version of it if they don't even know they don't even realize what it is that they're saying? I can realize that, and I'm not a genius. I'm a basket case. But I can see that everything that Jesus was talking about, or Moses, or any of the prophets, Enoch, Solomon, anyone was talking about, just how connected everything really is. And once that connection is made, that connection is there. But meek, remember meek. Meek does not mean weak, as in brittle or fragile. Meek is to mean short-lived, which means right now in this current moment, this split second, my faith is 100% whole. But that split second next, it dwindles to 97% faith. That is meek. Meaning your faith was strong now, but as time passed, your faith dwindled. You lost faith in me. Because you lose faith is the reason your power gets taken back. The reason you're not allowed to do these things. Having full faith 100% of the time, you lead a righteous path. You can cleanse sin from the body. These things are hard to believe. I know because I never believed any of this. And I believe that I'm going to be killed for this. For the things that I say. Because I've seen me getting shot so many times. So many times I've felt blood. I've felt the bullets go through my body. The blood is so hot. It was so, especially the one that went through my neck. It was so hot, the blood coming out. And the bullet hit my spinal cord and my vocal cords, and I couldn't speak. And I couldn't move. I could move my eyes, and I was trying to speak. But the blood was pouring out of the side of my neck like a faucet. And I could feel it pouring down me, and I slid down kitchen cabinets. And it was so hot. And I could feel it start in my fingertips and my toes. As the blood drained out of me, I could feel it. But I've been shot lots of times. And it could happen again. Because throughout thousands of years, souls in physical form that have said everything that I'm saying and will say have been prosecuted, has been crucified, has been burned alive. And at first, when I was being told to walk, I said, I'm not willing to do it again. I'm not willing to die for a race that will never believe in me. A race that won't believe anything I say. I'm not fixing to die for you. I love my life. I want to have it again. It's not my place anymore. That's not my... I already have everything I need. I've had everything I need for a long time. I have no wants for anything. God provides me with everything that I have. He is who I am. He made me who I am. I know that through him I will never die. We are eternal. We all are. It's in every book. We all are eternal. But people think because a baby is born into this world and you see the life in it, then it grows old and grows old and grows old and gets into old age, and you see the baby as an old individual on a deathbed, and you think that they died. You rejoice of the birth of a child, and then you mourn for the death of the elderly. But you flip that world upside down. There are spirits that are rejoicing for the birth into the afterlife, and there are spirits that are they're mourning and rejoicing because of your rebirth into the reincarnation cycle. They want you to awaken, and they're sad that you might not awaken in that reincarnation life. But eventually we all awaken. It could happen anytime. But some of the things I've said before have scared people because of the experience. We can't experience just good things and expect to grow that way. To have this eternal, you can't just expect a good, happy life. You were expected to live and experience a horrible, painful death. Because of the experience, that's how you grow. I've seen a past life where I was a little girl and I was raped and choked to death by two men. One past life, I was a younger man and I was put in an iron bowl and burned alive. One past life, I was a dinosaur, a long-necked dinosaur. I actually mentioned that on my Jeff Mara podcast, but I wasn't sure that that's what that was. But I know now that that's what that was. It was my first life that I became consciously aware of my existence in. Was that form in that dinosaur. That long-necked dinosaur was the first time that I became consciously aware of my existence. Is the whole reason that when I have first came back, that I have said that my soul, myself, is hundreds of millions of years old. This body is only 32 years old. It's only been here on this earth, born for 32 years. But the spirit that is me, the soul that is me, that resides in this form, has been here for a very long time. I have been going over this, repeating this over and over and over and over, because I never learned who I am and where I came from. I kept doing the same dumb stuff and coming back over and over and over again. But I stopped. I finally woke up because of drugs. Drugs and not eating for 5 to 6 days, not drinking anything for 5 to 6 days, which I didn't even know at the time, but apparently that's what is it called? A fasting? I ain't never heard of that. But on top of that, because I'm on drugs, ecstasy, which is methamphetamines, and to my knowledge was methamphetamines and MDMA, which I don't think there was no MDMA in it. I think it was mostly methamphetamines. You don't sleep. So on top of not eating and not sleeping for 5 to 6 days, I was awake straight for 5 to 6 days. So it put me in an altered state of consciousness. This is the whole reason I had my experience. I would have never had that experience if it wasn't for that. I would have probably reincarnated many a times again to get to the same journey where I'm at right now. It probably would have took me more hundreds of millions of years. I don't know. But now that I'm awake, Time does not exist for me because I know that everything that ever was, is, and will be is here in me already. And when this body dies, I won't forget anymore. I will never forget. I'll be able to take everything with me because it's already in me. It's already been done, programmed that way. But then again, in a world where there is other conscious souls at, you're not allowed to alter reality. So I can't do anything special. In the sense of certain things that I know that some people would say that's impossible. I can't do those things because, and people say that when Jesus performed miracles, he did it in like in private or whatever. Well, here's the whole thing that I saying that my little monkey wrench that kind of messed my head up. I'm in this room right now, and even if I closed this computer and took it out of the room and took all the electronics out of this room, the atoms that's in this wall, the atoms that's in this air, the atoms that make up these, they're alive. Well, if they haven't consciously experienced what I've experienced throughout time and I did something in front of them, it would also alter that reality of a freaking molecule or an atom. And that too is not allowed to do, which is mind blowing to me. How something so small that I cannot even see, cannot even see the molecules and the atoms in the air and stuff like that. You're telling me that it's conscious? Yeah. That grass, this wall, this is all matter, energy, vibration, frequency. You touch it, you feel it, and there's a force. But on a molecular scale, it's vibrating and moving constantly in a state of motion, frequency. It's not solid. You should be able to pass right through it. But because reality says we can't, yet we can't. Until reality says we can, we can't. Until God says we can, we can't. It's not time. Give it time, and you can experience everything in creation. Everything from creation that ever was, is, and will be. You will experience it. Why? The whole point of experiencing it for yourself so you can learn from it. They were all, it was all the same. It was, I can feel the guys raping me as a little girl. I could feel them choking me to death. I remember hearing blood vessels burst in my eyes from suffocation. The Iron Bull, I remember feeling my skin boil. I remember there wasn't smoke, but I remember that breathing, it was very hot, and I suffocated before, and eventually suffocated before I fell to the bottom of it and died. But no, it was all real. It was just as real as this is now. It was the same. It was no different. What I'm experiencing here right now, and it's crazy to me when I tried to talk about it, because my near death experience only took place in a matter of 15 to 30 minutes here in this floor, and at time as this body was experiencing it. It only took 15 to 30 minutes. But in that span of 15 to 30 minutes, outside of this form, I experienced hundreds of millions of years squeezed into 15 to 30 minutes, which was kind of weird. And then still was at the time was very, very mind blowing to me how that could happen, considering I've never heard of this. Before my experience, I've never heard of near death experiences. I've never heard of out of body experiences. I didn't know who Jeff Maher was. I didn't know who Dolores Cannon was. I didn't know none of this. I've never heard of it, never studied it, never been interested in it because I didn't even believe in none of it. I've never read the Bible. I've never done any of that because I never believed in it. Until my experience happened is when I got very interested into knowing what happened to me because I couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain it, and I thought I was the only one. That's the whole reason that I thought I was crazy and losing my mind is because I'd never heard about this stuff, and it scared me. It scared me very, very bad because of the asteroid that I seen. And it scared me so bad that I didn't want to look up. I didn't want to look up at the sky because I did not want to see that asteroid. And it terrified me. But I understand that it doesn't matter how terrified I am of it. Eventually, I will love it. Eventually, I will welcome it. And I will sit there and watch it every step of the way. And I will smile at it and say, "Thank you, God. Thank you for giving me this experience to have this. Thank you." Even though I was terrified to die, even though I was told that I was fixing to have an aneurysm burst in my brain, I don't know that this guy was a. I remember there being. It's funny you said that because I remember there being Romans. I remember Roman red, and it was like almost in a desert, but there was a small little temple. There was people gathered around, and I was young. I was in late teens to mid 20s, and I've done something wrong, and all that I had on was I don't know how you call it, but it looked like a diaper. That's all I had on was it looked like a diaper, and I think I had on sandals. I did have on sandals. Short hair, short black hair, no facial hair, and I was dark complected, dark skin complexion. But yeah, I don't know what I did wrong, but I done something wrong. Somebody did not like what I did, and I remember there being Roman soldiers on each side of me, and they put me in that bowl to be executed by being burned in the iron bowl. I did something they did not like, and apparently everybody else that was gathered around didn't like what I was doing either, because they were all chanting it. Some weren't, but they didn't like what I was doing either. And I'm not sure. I would have to focus on it real hard. It can come to me, and then again, there's a lot of things that when they come to me, I'm scared to say them. I'm scared to say them because it's not that I'm being told to say them. I have the choice. I still have the choice to say it or not. I know I need to sometimes. Some of the things that I know I need to say them. But some of the things I'm so terrified to say because what will the world do? What will be done to me? But at the same time, I'm almost to the point to where there is nothing that you can do to me that hasn't already been done. It's the whole reason when my aneurysm was going to burst in my brain and I was scared to die because I didn't remember dying up until that point. I didn't know what happened to us after death. That's the big question that all this happened, and the two words with "what's next" that was popping into my head. It was me my brain questioning what happens to us after we die. What is next? Well, I'm dead. Now what? I couldn't remember. And that was the big trigger for this. I don't know. I can't say that I necessarily remembered actually dying, because I don't. I don't actually remember dying. I came outside of the body before the death. The only body that I actually seen die, that I knew died, was that dinosaur. Because well, I can't even say that that dinosaur died. Something tells me that that body, that form, was saved somehow, and some of this still is. My brain cannot make sense of some of this stuff sometimes, but something was telling me that that form was saved because it was the only one left. It was the only one left after there was whether a death or savior. That one form was saved. That little girl that I was, um, I'm pretty sure she died. I'm almost positive, but I'm not certain. Being burned in the iron bowl, I can't say that that body actually died because I came out of the bodies, all these bodies, besides the one that I went into. No, 11/22 is my birthday. And it's weird because sometimes I fit with Scorpio, sometimes I fit with Sagittarius. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not the one that ever reads them. My wife reads them to me sometimes, and depending on the day, one or the other fits me better. It's weird. Sagittarius, yeah, it's weird how the mine works because mine is literally between Sagittarius and Scorpio, separated by like 1 or 2 days. So it's almost like there's a combination of them at work there, which is funny. But yeah, the body that I went into and had the aneurysm in, that body actually died. And there was reason for that death of that body is because of my soul needing to leave. I had to actually experience death and to get over the fear of dying, to actually have the death experience to access this knowledge, this information, because I was so scared to die. I was terrified. I didn't believe in anything happens to us. Well, I had to get past that eventually to remember that you never die. Physical is affected by time, so it ages. Throughout the time, it ages. The spirit doesn't get older, it gets wiser, it grows, it gets bigger. So when you're born, that's not when you start. Let alone there are new souls and old souls. Okay, let me say that because I do know some youngins. I do know some youngins. December 5th. I have to look up to it. I still have some books on a numerology and astrology, or I have an astrology book, but numerology when it comes to birthdays and stuff like that, because there is certain prayer to do on depends on what time of the day, what time of the night, uh, what the lunar, my stomach is bubbling. There's all kinds of things that come to play when it comes to how you create things, when it comes to the position of the moon and the stars and all that. I mean, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Anyways, but yeah, I never actually remembered any of those deaths. I just remember I was gonna die. I had to experience it to get over really to get past the fear of dying because I was terrified. I was terrified to die because I didn't believe in anything. Wow. See, I don't know too much about numerology yet. I haven't done my research into it yet, but I haven't asked any questions about it yet either. That's the whole reason that I haven't uh, got there yet, is because I haven't questioned that part of it yet. But yeah, it's like I was saying earlier with the channel. It's depends on what I'm asked, is what I'm allowed. It all depends on what's allowed to be channeled and released. The channel is a way to let know it's ready for the information to be released, which is kind of weird to me. And I kind of feel used sometimes, like you're just gonna use me to tell information. It's kind of weird. Come on now. 1990. Which is weird. I've been seeing a lot of threes. Jesus was 33 when he died. 33 vertebrae in the spine that lead up to the brain. A lot of threes lately. Three viewers. A lot of, wow, this is it's pretty cool. It just tells me that it just to me is more definitive proof that there's more at work than what I'm even aware of yet. That there's still much for me to learn, because there is still much for me to learn, for I need to be the one teaching. And if I'm going to teach, then I need to know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. I can't go out there and say that 1 plus 1 equals 57. What? You know what I mean? I have to know what I'm talking about in order to teach it right, the right way. And that's the whole reason that I'm still doing this thing, and it keeps going. And it never ends. We have much work to do. It is even said in the Bible that people, have questioned, well, when you die and get to heaven, then what? We all just sing kumbaya? No, we have a job to do. Well, could it be that your job to do is tell other people about heaven? Maybe. To try to help the ones that are lost, possibly. To remember that you can go into these different forms, and that you can connect to this amount of information, the Akashic records and all this, to try to bring awareness to people, to wake them up, so they can remember, so they stop doing this. So it's possible. It's possible. 369. So, let's just think hypothetically here. What would that mean? What would that mean? I'm just curious, because I don't know. But I want to know what you say. I'm just curious. I think I know, but I don't want to say anything. Because I am curious. I'm curious. Because when I see 639, I mean, I see all the other numbers too. But the main thing that I see is the 369. And I think there's a lot of importance when it comes to 3 and how it's multiplied, divided. Because apparently, they talk about the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Well, apparently, if God created everything that ever was, is, and will be, and He's ever in everything that ever was, is, and will be, 369 is all, is connected. Everything is one. So 3 is really in 1. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to do my research into this too, because I've been curious about it myself. I just haven't had the money to get the books I need yet, which was supposed to be this video. It was talking about the books that I needed, and I got sidetracked into talking about reincarnation because of some woman in China. Or someone claiming to be some woman in China who's interested in near-death experiences and then specifically reincarnation, and said that she's heard my story and watched my video but absolutely knew nothing about my story. She wasn't who she said she was. It was a woman, I do believe, but she is not who she says she was. Oh, I got a message back from her anyways. But I had mentioned something to her. And she says she's doing research on near-death experiences and reincarnations. And she was saying something about the reincarnation cycle and karma, which I had mentioned this, and how the reincarnation... I know. I know I gotta change the title now. See, actually, I believe that reincarnation, when she was asking me about reincarnation, you that makes you as the spirit or soul, when you reincarnate into a physical form, but you don't remember nothing, you do have the veil pulled over, you will be the one spirit, the one soul that is you yourself. But eventually, to me, it's not a theory, but it's only a theory to most. Could it be possible for, instead of just one spirit or one soul to be in one physical form, be many in one physical form? Could that be possible? I believe it. I believe there could be many inside one. If God created everything that ever was, is, and will be, and everything is connected. If everything's connected, then nothing is really separate. You just create it to be that way. Well, if everything is connected, then how can one spirit, one soul, be separate from all the other ones? How are they not one? How can they not be shared, connected consciously? How could that not happen? To me, it's possible. To me, it's real. I firmly believe that. Because not only is it spoke about in everything, not only has it been theorized for centuries, I am experiencing it. I am experiencing it myself. And to me, it was almost impossible the first time it happened. But as there's more and more coming, whoa, it's almost like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Insidious, spooky movie. But when she talks about going to the astral plane or the astral realm or something, I have no idea. I think it was dark. No, I don't know. I've actually asked. It's not on my birth certificate. Uh, I have asked my mom and dad, and my mom and dad were really into drugs, you know. So I don't even think they knew I was born when I was born. um, but yeah, I'm not positive. I know my dad's birthday is the next day after me, and that I know I don't know what time he was born. That's why I need to know when he was born, and I don't think he knows that either, because he said something about it would have been only hours before we would have had the same birthday. But I don't know what time he was born at, and I don't think he knows either because I'm pretty sure that I've asked. So, uh, and see, I think I've seen that when my wife told me something about it. I think I've seen that, and I'm not positive. I could be wrong on that. Uh, Hold on, I'm getting sidetracked. This woman said something about reincarnation and karma, and some people, no matter what they want to believe. Well, when I seen Insidious, hold on, let me get back to Insidious. I remembered. Come back to me. She said that when you would come outside your astral body, or in the astral realm, however she says it, that most of the time, all the things that are outside of you are never aware of you because you're never aware of them. So you're like a light that is off most of the time to them. But when you become conscious of these things and that are around you, you become like a light in a dark room. And now all of them turn and see you before you're shining in a bright room. So that's kind of how this was working. At first, it was very, very slow. And as I'm doing more research, it's almost as if my light is, instead of flickering, is staying more constant and more being drawn. It's weird and sometimes spooky. See, I've heard something about that, and um, my dad even mentioned something to me about. Actually, I think two or three people have. They mentioned something to me about Nostradamus because I was talking about Nostradamus and his prophecies, and some people were saying that he's a cuckoo and a quack because he predicted things that were just so out there and so outrageous and that never came true. When I say the multiverse, reincarnation cycle, and stuff like that, and that you will experience everything that has ever happened, is, that was, is, and will be. Just because it didn't happen in this reality, on this earth, in this dimension, doesn't mean that it's not happening somewhere else. Anything that you can think possible in creation is being created, has been created, and can be experienced. So just because it's not here in this time frame, in this reality, in this dimension, in this realm, does not mean it's out there somewhere in the reincarnation cycle and that you won't live it and experience it. Why? It's because of you thought it. even though you've never said it, everything that you've ever thought or experienced has been documented and has been being created into a reality, into an existence. It's just waiting to be experienced before it comes conscious of itself. Right now, it's waiting to be conscious. Once it becomes conscious is when it's actually being experienced. Some of the things I say can yeah, you said that, and some people. I had one woman actually that I had to block because she was a very hateful person, and I hate to do that to people. I hate to do that to people, but you choose your company, and I couldn't have that around me. But she wanted to know about a past loved one, and that if past loved ones are there, and I told her it depends. It Yeah, they are always there, but it depends on what it depends on when you're physically experiencing the time. They are always there, but for you to experience them there depends on when you're physically experiencing time. It depends on what time that you consciously are experiencing. It depends on they're there, because if they have reincarnated, they could be multiple places at one time but are not consciously aware of it until you become consciously aware that they have been there. So it's weird how all this works, and some of it is still kind of hard for me to explain in a ways, because we still have no way of really explaining these things yet. And I know sometimes when I explain them in the simplest form, it doesn't make sense. Kind of, it's like, how can that be possible, or that doesn't make sense? Why? I know it doesn't make sense. It's hard to explain something that is unexplainable. But this woman, she had asked about karma and the reincarnation cycle. And I was like, well, the reincarnation cycle is real, and on depending on where your soul goes or where your spirit goes, depends on what you do with your karma. If you take it with you, because you do, whether people want to believe that or not. People say that they've always left their karma, their everything behind. Could it be possible that you have the option for it to carry with you? Just because it's never been said that you can't carry it with you does not mean that it doesn't happen, that it never takes with you. And if that happens, depending on that trauma or karma, depends on what you reincarnate into, to learn the lesson, to fix that karma, to try to remember to fix that thing. Yes, but the mind eventually, you how did I say this the other day? Because somebody asked me that same question about the mind. You reprogram the mind. The mind will always be the same. It's just like I explained it. It's like a cigarette filter. When you get downloaded stuff, depends on where your mind is at the time. It depends on what you're allowed to have and what you're allowed to see and do and feel and hear. Well, depends on how long you've been here. It depends on how you reprogram your filter and how much you can absorb and then put into reality. So in that sense, it's what you create. Your brain is exactly what you create. Your physical is what you create. Everything will become eventually what you create. But it is going to take time, because, like I say, free will of every spirit and soul that is here, you can only do things that wouldn't change the way that they view reality. Because if you change the way someone else views reality, you're not giving them the opportunity to use free will. And that is not what God intended for us. God intended for us to have free will, to have the choice to make the decision for ourselves. So you have to make the decision for yourself. And until everyone is on the same page, it doesn't matter how far you read, you have to read in silence. You can't read out loud, because if you read out loud before someone else catches up to you, they will not understand where you are, because they haven't done the work to get to that page yet. Does that make sense? If I'm on page 1 still, but you're on page 3 and you're reading out loud, and I'm reading in silence, but I'm also hearing you because you're reading out loud, I will not know where in the heck you are, what you're talking about, until I do the work myself and catch up to you to page 3. But by the time I've got there, you've gotten even further. So I will never be on that scale until you stop and be quiet and I can catch up. You see what I'm saying? That's similar to how that works because of time. Time, baby. Time. But yeah, she asked me about karma and was like curious about the reincarnation and what depends on. My hair has been falling out for some reason, but not just on all over me, all over my body. I don't know why. And I can feel it. I can feel it when it comes out. It's just weird. It's weird. It feels like it's moving. But anyways, I kind of maybe didn't need to know that. But yeah, she was talking about karma, and I was like, it depends on if you make, you could take your karma and trauma with you, and depending on that is where you will reincarnate to or what you will become. This is my channel, and I'm talking about reincarnations. If you want to talk about revelations, we can talk about revelations. I'm talking about reincarnations at the moment, so that's what I want to talk about. But anyways, I don't. Anyways, but yeah, the karma and stuff, and the rebirth. It all depends on what you took with you. What happens, and the veil. Like a lot of people say that they don't remember because the veil. When you're born, you don't remember a lot of things, or you don't remember past lives or nothing because of a veil that gets pulled over your eyes. And well, that's because you're supposed to remember. You're supposed to remember these things, but the path that you had before, you didn't. So now that you didn't the past before, now that you're here, well, you have to try again, pretty much, or just keep going to try. But I don't necessarily quote the Bible. Like I've said, it's not. I don't know when you came in here, but I have talked about all different holy books, not just one or the other. I've talked about multiple, because to me they all speak the same thing. But like I've said in this video before, a lot of things have throughout time things get mistranslated, miscommunicated, and stuff like that. So I don't know if you've ever done this in school, but I remember doing this in school. And they would have a line of 10, 15, 20 students. And they would set you down. They would sit you down and set you in a line next to each other. There would be one adult down here at this end, one adult down there at this end. And the first kid in the line, they would sit there and whisper something in their ear. And they would tell them, okay, what you do is you turn to the next person and you whisper in their ear and you keep it going all the way down the line. Well, by the time it got to the last kid, they were told to repeat what you heard. And it was nothing like it originally started to be. It was nothing like it originally started to be. And that was just kind of a thing to show you how one sentence transferred through time changes. It gets miscommunicated. Something happens, or a word gets dropped, a word gets added. Something could happen to change it. And that is what has happened a lot. Well, I know, and when you say ad pages, the whole reason that I started talking about what I was talking about before is because in in a lot of these books, a lot of spiritual books, holy books, for instance, when you get, you have the beginning, but when you get to the end of it, it does not say the end, right? Most of the time, it kind of leaves it open to say to be continued because it's not the end. That's not the end. There's supposed to be another chapter. Supposed to be more books added to it eventually throughout time. That's what I've been trying to say, and that's why I don't know if anybody else has said that. I don't know. I haven't done any research into anybody else's stuff because that's I am doing what I need to do. I am here where I need to be. I'm talking about what I need to be talking about because it is for me and it's for whoever encounters what I'm saying. If you are here, it's because you were supposed to be here. I am here because I am supposed to be here. This is right where I need to be. You are right where you need to be. Everything is planned perfect. That's what I believe. I don't believe coincidence. I don't believe in things just happen that way. No, I believe in it happens that way for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. But yeah, anywho. But yeah, none of them ever say the end. They never say the end. They say to be continued. Or that's kind of how I've kind of filtered it to be. Is to be continued. It's never, you get to the last page and it says, well, that's the end of this book. You can start over, or there will never be another anything written to this. This is it. This is as far as it goes. It always says to be continued. There is going to be more. Come one day. Come one day. There is going to be another chapter that is supposed to be added to this book. Or another, a continuation or something similar to that. And that's what I believe. I mean, how can people sit there and believe in all these things, or they say they believe in them, but they don't actually believe in them? It doesn't make sense to me how, but it's not supposed to make sense to me. It's not for me. It just sometimes kind of puzzled by it how some people can believe in something or say they believe in something, but deep down you don't really believe it. If you did, you wouldn't do what you're doing. If you did, you wouldn't. That's it. If you did, you wouldn't be doing what you were doing because you know exactly what you're doing. And if you're doing the wrong thing, you know what is right and what is wrong. You should. You should know what is the right thing to do and what is the wrong thing to do. Well, how come you keep doing the wrong thing? How come you keep choosing? It's not because somebody made you or because of your circumstances. No. It's not because of that. It doesn't matter. This is a hard subject for some people, and when it comes to emotion. That somebody said something to me, so that hurt my feelings. I understand that. Trust me, I do. I understand that all the way. Yeah. Not all of them. Everything's perfect because it's been mistranslated. Considering the King James Holy Bible, like I was saying, there was a lot of stuff that was put into that Bible that was completely changed just to help the king, right? If I could be mistaken on that, but I think I've heard somewhere somebody might have said that at one point in time. Not everything. I'm not saying everything, but there were certain things in there that were supposed to help the empire. right? Or something similar to that. Anywho. Oh my Lord, I lost what I was talking about. Brain fart. Well, I guess that's all I'm allowed to talk about then. So, shoot, it's almost a 2-hour video. Longest video I've done in a while. But I wasn't expecting to be going down this route either. It was supposed to be books. And here I am talking about all this. But, yeah. I'm going to have to come back and read all these. And I tried to look on my phone one day. I tried to look and see how I could see them comments on my phone. And see that number 12. That number 12 is pulls down to 3. Pulls down to 3. And see, I was shown 12 people. Which is crazy because I didn't even know that. But that was way before I even done research. I was shown 12 people that had roles. Like one of them was a cook, one of them was a warrior, which was a protector. One of them was the mother, the nurturer. One of them was the map, numerology that did maps and stuff. The other one was a healer, an alchemist. They had different roles, and which was pretty cool. Oh, okay. Huh. See, I need to look into that a little bit more because I haven't looked into that, but there was one. 12 was the title of them, I guess. Those. And then there was the one that was going to remain unknown, anonymous. And I've even told these people, or never mind. But I've talked to a few people. But something ended up happening to where that didn't matter anymore. So that didn't matter anymore, which was okay. It's okay. But I've tried to look these comments up on my phone a few times, and I cannot find them dagburn things on there. Like, let's see. I'll click on it on this phone. See, I can see them right there. Okay. See, I'm going to have to go back through these and read these and then comment on them or something. But, hey, I'm fixing to shut this down, y'all. I'm tired. You know, it's like almost 3 o'clock in the morning here. That's crazy. What? That's crazy. That's pretty cool. Technology, man. Technology. Yeah, pretty cool. But hey, a red dragon. Oh no, she's asleep. She's been asleep for a long, long time. That's the whole reason that I used to use drugs. was because that I was able to stay up during the daytime when everybody else was awake, hang out with everybody. Then I could stay up at nighttime too and do all of the work that I needed to do. But the whole thing about that is that the drugs were. I don't believe nothing's wrong with drugs. Me personally, after using all different variations of all kinds of drugs, methamphetamines, government heroin, any kind of freaking pill you can think of, fentanyl, anything, any kind of pill, cocaine, all alcohol, any kind of drug, I've probably done it. I don't believe in drugs bad. But what I do believe in, something moved. What I do believe in is what the person uses. I've known functioning alcoholics. I've known functioning drug addicts. Pay all their bills, their kids are taken care of, their refrigerator's full of food, go to work every day. They do everything normal life besides they get high or drunk. They're functioning alcoholic, functioning drug addict. The only difference between them and the normal ass person is they're getting high or drunk. And I've known people that are not functional drug addicts or alcoholics, ones that get drunk and can't walk, can't speak, can't do anything, can't go to work, they're sick. Drug addicts that can't go to work, their lights get cut off because they'd rather get high. Car gets repossessed because they went and got a title loan and go get them a crack rock. Stuff like that. It's not the drug. It's like this gun thing that everybody has. I'm a firm believer in firearms. I have firearms. A firm believer in them. This fork is a fork until you pick it up and use it to eat with, or you use it to stab somebody in the neck with. That gun is just a gun. Unless you use it, until someone picks it up to go hunt, to put food in their icebox, or pick it up and to go hunt to kill somebody with, then it becomes a problem. Same thing with drugs. This bag of cocaine sitting right here is just a bag of cocaine until it is ingested into someone's body and they sit there and say, I'm going to go do some jumping jacks or go put in something positive. Use it for a positive way because you can. It's a choice. Use it in a positive way, then it can't be a bad thing. But it's until they put it in their body and say, I'm going to go break into that car and steal some radio and go sell it so I can get more cocaine, that it becomes a bad thing. It's all on how you use it. You can use drugs in a good way. You can use drugs in a bad way. Are you using the drug or is the drug using you? It's all up to you. It's a choice. But some people can't handle that. They can't take that. They blame it on the drug. Blame it on the drug. No, it's not the drug. The drug might have influenced you to do these things, but you still had a choice to not follow that influence or follow that influence. But you have to be stronger than what's at work there. You have to be stronger than your physical. Anyways, but I'm going to shut this down. I'm tired, y'all. I'm gonna go to bed here in a minute, and please like the video, please share the video, and oh, I know. Trust me, my stepbrother, I'm worried about him constantly because he's an alcoholic and he's on fentanyl. And trust me, if this was my house, if this wasn't my mama's house, this was my house, I don't care if he's not working. Get out of Dallas, get down here. You're going to get your ass sober, and you're going to get back up on your feet. I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to treat you like crap, but I am going to motivate you because where he's staying, all he's around is alcoholics and drug addicts, and he has nobody to push him to better himself. So he falls right into that rut. And he himself is seeing all this, and he can't get out of it. Well, I know. For a drug addict to get clean, you have to want to get clean. You can put them in rehab. You can pay for them to go to top-notch rehabs. You can do all these things. But until they actually want to get clean, until I actually wanted to get clean myself, I wasn't getting clean. I had to want it for myself. And when I finally wanted it for myself, oh yeah, hard for about 2 weeks. The withdrawals, I felt like I was going to die. But eventually, and that was when my radio silence on everything initially started, because I went back quiet because I'm going through withdrawals. But eventually, I wanted to get clean. Now, ever since my DWI, I had one DWI ever. And ever since then, I quit drinking. I haven't had drinking alcohol in, I don't even know how long, probably 3 years. But drugs, I don't smoke marijuana. I haven't smoked marijuana in over a year or close to a year. And any kind of pills, I don't take any kind of medication. I don't take anything. I don't even take Tylenol. I don't take Tylenol, Aleve. I don't take any kind of medicine. The only thing that I do besides drink caffeine and sodas is smoke cigarettes. That is it. I don't do anything else. No drugs, no alcohol, or besides cigarettes and caffeine, nothing. No, nothing. And I'm fixing to try to stop smoking cigarettes, which I know I can, but at the moment I just didn't want to. It keeps looking like there's a fuzzy in my beard, but there's not. I gotta shave. It's starting to look kind of scruffy. I just gotta trim it. But anyways, I'm gonna shut this live down because it's been going on for 2 hours. I love you. God bless you. And if you do have any questions, reach out to me. And please, this is to everybody, please do not forget to donate to support the channel. All donations go towards helping this channel. Right now, my son's birthday is coming up. So, and Tammy, you are a blessing. You are an angel. I know I forgot to make a video with my son. I will tomorrow to tell you thank you, because you are a godsend. But everyone else, please donate. Everything at the moment will go towards his birthday, because he's turning 5 years old. I got to go all out for his birthday, right? Sounds like there's somebody in my house. I'll never get used to that. Anyways, I love you. God bless you. And good night. Any questions you have, comment, and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. I still have to go through these. But I love you, and good night.